All steps sign up for the
Let's go.
This is it. Weather patterns are changing, right? I mean,
Yeah, they are.
we can no longer call things what's the norm and not the norm because as the Gulf streams shift, as all of these massive cycles are shifting, it's changing weather patterns all over the place. So you can no longer count on what's going to be the norm. So like I was just talking about England, it's been really quite dry this summer. I mean, May was the hottest year in history, in historical records, the driest month in historical records, this May in England. We've had very little rain this month, very little rain. As I said, it's raining today. It rained all day today for the first time in at least 2 weeks, since we've had any kind of a proper rain. And people talk about, oh, it's an unusual year, et cetera, et cetera. And the wheat crops here got totally devastated because of the drought conditions. Because they're not prepared for it, right? In England, I joke about that. When we moved into this house, there was not an outdoor tap. And I remember saying to Nick, going, well, what are we going to do to water the plants in the garden? And then we laughed and we're like, ha, 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 it's England. We're like, fuck, we're going to need to worry about watering the plants. Oh, fuck yeah, we did. We had to pay 100 quid for a plumber to come in and install an outside tap. And thank God we did, because the whole summer was mostly drought conditions. The new norm is not normal. And unfortunately, there's going to be, we talk about things that we've been talking about, the topics of prepping and stuff like that. Let alone all the other fucking bullshit, crazy shit that's going on around us, politically, financially, etc. Environmentally, everything is shifting. So these drought conditions that were happening in England, what if that's the new norm? Right? What if that is going to be the new normal because the weather patterns are changing? In other areas, like there were areas of the States that had ridiculous heat waves. I know Toronto got hit with a massive. Now, Toronto is hot in the summer. You always get a couple of weeks that are just belligerently hot. Like belligerently hot. 40 degrees, massive humidex, the whole bit. But when all of a sudden you're starting to see shifts where places that are normally warmish becoming cold and having real cold weather, places that are usually cool are now having warmer than normal temperatures. Drier places are getting more water. Wet countries like England are getting less water. This is kind of part of this thing about when we look at the food supply, right? Because farmers, they have their way of doing things. They've done things the same way. Maybe it's historical farming, as in like their family and their parents and their grandparents. They always planted things this way. This is when they planted this, etc. But now, like a lot of that shit is changing, and this is what I'm seeing in my gardening group that I'd created. How many people are seeing so many problems in their gardens? Certain things won't grow. Things are having all kinds of problems, and we're going to have to be very, very, what's the word? We're going to have to play things by ear. We're going to have to be ready to change as things are changing. We're going to have to really, really be on the ball with that. And I've already said, hold on. Apparently I have a dog who's insisting that he has to go outside. Give me just a moment. Seriously? You're a jerk ass. You're going outside, you're staying outside. Wash the floor. It's been raining. Now my whole floor is... You too? Hold on. My God.
Danny makes me laugh. Sorry, folks. He does. He does.
Yeah, my problem with dogs and rain is Freshly washed floors now covered in muddy dog prints.
Welcome to the world, Danny. Welcome to the world. Oh, hell, somebody's tapping at the door. Doggone it.
That's what happens when you have pets. It's
And
like, oh,
children.
yeah, yep.
Pets
It's
and
like,
children.
oh, you gotta go out. You gotta go out. And you definitely can't go out. Don't come back till, you feel like you really need to come back in. But don't keep coming back in and out. I'm not
Yeah, I'd
having
like to
that.
say that it works that way, but it doesn't work that way. No, that's the thing, right? We look at all this stuff that's going on right now, and it really is. If anything, we have to be really, really watching to be able to change with the patterns. And that's, like I say, even, the political shit and financial shit aside, just environmentally, the stuff that's going on with food, the stuff that's going to go on with weather, things like that, we've got to be prepared that there is going to be no norm. I don't think for the next few years we're going to see any semblance of normal, because everything is going to be like this as we're seeing all these changes happen, right? Crazy, crazy. And of course, do I need to add the proviso that I'm not talking about man-made CO2 global warming, because that's a crock of shit. Boy. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the UnFuckIt discussion. We're already chatting away. It is the end of September, the 23rd of September already. Fuck. And I don't know how many of you had a chance to catch the sorry guys, the astrology show that we did on Saturday. There's a moment there that we all want to think, oh my God, 2020, oh my God, I can't deal with it. But, as the astrology ladies talked about on the show on Saturday, 2020 isn't the end of this shit. And I know we all want to think that if we could just get through this year, then maybe everything can go back to normal. Normal. Haha. It's not going to be that way. And that's kind of what plays into a lot of what I was saying, talking about the food supply, environmentally, etc. Everything is going to be, it sounds like, upheaval. Change. Lots and lots of change. Lots and lots of crazy shit. So, we need people, like I said, that's why I keep talking about the prepping stuff. So I want to start off here just for a quick second, because I've had a shit ton of questions sent to me, most of which I'm going to probably forget. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them into here. I've got a lot of messages from people asking advice on things and different ideas, etc., when it comes to all of the prepping things. One of the biggest questions I've gotten asked, which shocked me, was people asking about dehydrators and what's the best dehydrators to go and get. So I'm not going to talk about brands, because obviously there'll be brands in Europe that will not be available in America, and there'll be brands in Australia that won't be available in Europe. So I want to give a couple of basic things to look for if you're getting a dehydrator. And I've used multiple different kinds of dehydrators now. Now, most of the time, back in Canada especially, I had the cheap dehydrators, the ones that everyone sees. They're round. They've got the clear trays, the clear stacking round trays, and a lid. They're not the best. But as I always say, any port in a storm. If you walk into a secondhand shop and you see one of those fuckers for like, $5-10, pick it up. They're still awesome. They will still do all your veg and fruit, etc. But if you're actually making a proper purchase and you're really investigating, I recommend there's a couple of points to look for. The most important one, in my opinion, is look at one that has a temperature setting gauge on it. Because a lot of the inexpensive ones, the round tray ones, have one temperature setting, or it's like they've got low and they've got high. That's it. If you can get one that's got a proper temperature setting, you will be able to do so much more with it. Like, so much more. Now, the one that I have is rectangular. That's one of the other things, right? The round ones, great. They're hard to put somewhere because they're round. You know what I mean? Like, round takes up a lot more counter space, if you will, than something square. The one that I have is a nice square upright rectangular tower. Fits just perfectly on the side of a counter. It has 6 trays. You want a minimum of 6 trays. Really, really. Minimum of 6 trays. If you can go as high, if, for example, if you've got your own garden, etc., and you've got a lot of stuff that you want to dehydrate, if you want to get a 10 tray one, they're always worth the money. But always, like I said, look for them secondhand on eBay, on Marketplace, etc., because they are one of those things that a lot of people buy or have bought for them, and then they never use it, or they use it once, and then they finally get sick and tired of it collecting dust and they get rid of them. So you can sometimes pick them up for pretty damn cheap. So look for something that's got a temperature control on it. Now mine has settings. It has the temperatures, but also tells you what goes with the different temperatures. So you can do, for example, all your herbs are at 35 degrees Celsius. So you can dry all your herbs out at a very, very low temperature. Then it's got settings for vegetables, fruit, for meat, which is a big one if you want to make jerky. And I'll tell you, if you're a beef jerky fan, when you start making your own beef jerky and not buying the crap that they sell in a store, you will have just literally, your dehydrator will pay for itself. Because if you really like jerky, you can make your own beef jerky in any flavor with as much salt or little salt or seasoning, whatever you want, and you're going to save so much money. It's ridiculous. The other thing you can do in a dehydrator, if you have one that's big enough, for example, the ones that I'm talking about, the rectangular ones where the trays slide in, you can pull all the trays out, then you have a big open space inside. You can raise bread. If you're making your own bread, there is a setting on mine for raising bread. So you can just put your bowl, your ceramic bowl covered, put it in the dehydrator, set it for raising bread, and it'll do that. It has a setting for making yogurt. So same thing, you mix all your ingredients together, take your yogurt, put it in, turn it to the yogurt setting, close it up, bam. So dehydrators, not just for storing food, they literally, when you start using one, I have had so many people, I've had about 5 or 6 people message me who've gone and bought one since I started talking about them. And they've all been like, this is the best thing ever. I can't believe how great this is. I'm dehydrating all this stuff. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, though, because this is a comment I got from a couple of people on the YouTube video when we talked about food and prepping, was like, well, what if you don't have your own garden? I can't grow my own food. You know, I have a balcony, but, you know, it's a north-facing balcony, which is really sucks. But some things you can still grow, things like spinach, a lot of your lettuces, your leafy green stuff, you can still grow on a balcony. One of the best things, besides, first of all, one of your big options, if you're not growing stuff, and trust me, I'm growing as much as I can, and I'm still going out and buying a ton more to put through the dehydrator. Farmers markets. A little hint, if you go at the end of the day, like say a half an hour before the farmer's market's going to close, whatever they have left, they're going to want to get rid of really quick because they don't want to lug it all the way back. So you can usually get some really good steals on, like, you know, a bushel basket full of tomatoes, carrots, beans, whatever. So if you have any kind of an open air market that does fruit and veg, etc., go there towards the end of the day, towards just before they're closing up, and you will probably get yourself some really good steals. Obviously, if you live anywhere near the country, farms. Go to farms, buy your apples, buy your peaches, buy your whatever it is, corn, whatever it is that you want to buy. The other thing is, Most supermarkets and grocery stores will have a last day of sale bin for the produce, or it will be put off, usually quietly off to the side. I have always made out like a bandit by going, when I know that those bins will be full, like it's either with most grocery stores, it's either first thing in the morning or last thing at night when everything is moved and marked down. I went in the other day to our local Asda, which is a big, huge, major grocery store chain, and I got a bag of carrots that was that big by that big. It was about 7 kilos, probably. I got it for £1. That would be about $1.75 in Canadian. It's great. Brought it home. Some of them got cut up and sliced and just put into freezer bags to go into the freezer for soups and stews, etc. Others, I grated them up. Which would be another thing. We'll get back into the whole thing of food processors. But grated them up, laid it all out on trays, dehydrated it all. I now have a massive package of dehydrated carrots that are all in long-term storage. Went in and I got all kinds of stuff. The last week I got cabbage. This week I've got 3 cabbages that I got for, I don't know, 30 cents each. So I'm going to put that down into sauerkraut because I've got some jars. Food can be available in it. Be inventive. Don't just go and think, okay, well, I need to buy X many pounds of this. Keep your eyes out, and keep your eyes out for different things. For example, like I said, you go in, maybe you're not a big fan of green beans, but you walk into a grocery store and you can buy a big ass bag of green beans, put them into freezer bags in portions, cut them out, wash them, cut them all up, just put them into the freezer bags, throw them into soup, throw them into stew, throw them into casserole, whatever it is that you've got. They're not going to be, obviously they're not going to be as brilliant as fresh green beans are, but they're going to be good food. So there are ways of doing these things. And Bossy was just saying, I think it was Bossy who was just saying, Gorf was just saying, Asian food markets. If you've got an Asian food market near you, I keep saying this over and over, you will get some much better deals on a lot of stuff. Things like your rices, especially your spices, the best way to buy them. But even produce, things like that, you'll be able to get a good deal. So dehydrators are a must-have, in my personal opinion, if you do any kind of cooking, because of the fact of the things that you can make above and beyond putting food into storage, above and beyond that, the ease with which you can do other things, such as making beef jerky, making fruit jerky. What do they call that? You dehydrated the fruit juices. Oh, there's a word for that, and it's gone right out of my head. If your kids have ever had fruit roll-ups, which is like a North American fruit leather, thank you, Laura. I'm glad someone speaks my language. Yeah, fruit leather. Fruit leather. If you've got a plethora of something, like let's say you've got someone who's got a massive amount of peaches, and you can score peaches or anything like that, you put that shit down and then put it into your trays, your dehydrator, and make fruit leather. Oh my God! You will never buy commercial. It'll if you have an addiction to candy, that will break your addiction to candy right there.
Danny,
Yes, love.
I was just thinking of fruit roll-ups before you even said it. I'm like, oh wait, I've been
Fruit
getting that a
roll-ups.
lot when people say, wait, we're always thinking of something.
And someone says it.
Yeah, it's like, was you looking around in my brain? Like.
Jimmy, good thing to talk about, because Jimmy was just saying he was craving dehydrated pears, carrots, and parsnips. As a parent, we've all dealt with children who are picky eaters, right? And I've talked about the fact that you dehydrate vegetables and you chuck it into everything, especially if you grind it down into, like I said, the coffee grinder after you've dehydrated it. You can add a spoonful of anything to anything, and they'll never know. it's a great way of expanding the vegetables that you use. So, for example, parsnips. My kids never had parsnips. Parsnips aren't really a Canadian thing. Very few people eat parsnips. So I went out and bought parsnips and just cut them up all nice and really fine. I chucked them into soup. No one batted an eye. So same thing. Next time I went to the grocery store and there was a big bag of parsnips on sale, what did I do? You buy them, dehydrate them, grate them down. Oh, look, now I've got another vegetable that's all ready to go into thing. Zucchini is another one. Oh, yeah. Zucchini is another one. You can add zucchini to fucking anything. And I have. Trust me, because my garden at the beginning of the year was putting out massive zucchini. So I had zucchini was being added to every meal, pretty much. It's kind of a joke. One of the other things, if you're dehydrating, and this only came up, someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. Once you've dehydrated your food, you then want to store it, right? So obviously, can I reach it? Let's see if I can reach this. Behind, can I get it? Yes. Long fingers. There we go. So obviously, you can get canning jars. And you can put, well, any jar really, as long as it's clean and you've sterilized it, etc. You can put your powdered carrots or grated, hydrated celery if you want in a jar and put it aside. You can put Ziploc bags, which will last a little while. Do not try and store long-term food in Ziploc bags for too long, because the Ziploc bags these days are fucking shit, and the plastic will always start to break down. So the other option, and again, it's an inexpensive option, is vacuum sealers. On eBay, you can go get an inexpensive vacuum heat sealer for $15. You can take all your dehydrated stuff, put it in your vacuum seal bag, vacuum seal it, and so it sucks all the air out, because the biggest problem with dehydrated fruit is obviously moisture getting into it, right? A lot of that moisture can come from oxidization, holy shit, from the oxygen that's left trapped. So if say you've got dehydrated pieces of something, even though you heat seal it and vacuum seal it, you can still have little bits of oxygen still left in there. You can buy the little oxygen absorbers, which is anyone who does hardcore prepping knows, because when you're dealing with the big, like 5-gallon pails for food storage, you put the oxygen absorbers in there. Everyone knows what they are. You've seen them in a billion things that you've bought, and you've had the little teeny envelope that always says, do not eat. Those are oxygen absorbers. You can buy those. I just actually bought some. I won't use them so much on things like herbs or veg or anything else. I am going to use them for some long-term for my beef jerky. Just because that's one of those things where you really, 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 really need to make sure you store your beef jerky, obviously, very, very well, because it's meat, and right? No, Merce, unfortunately it doesn't, and I've tried that. Merce just said, wouldn't a few grains of rice do the same job? No, it doesn't. And then it also gets mixed into what you've got in the bag. Rice helps suck out the moisture and absorb moisture. It doesn't do anything for the oxygen. That's the problem. It is, I mean, you can throw all kinds of stuff in, but as a long-term storage as well, for example, if you've bought dried beans, and I'm talking, you've already bought dried stuff. You've bought rice, you've bought beans, you've bought lentils and dried peas, etc. If you put them into storage in the package that they're in, they'll last for as long as they'll give you, there'll be a best before date on the package. The problem with those plastic packagings is they always break down, right? How many times have you gone and you've picked up a bag of rice and you've got a microfine little hole in it? Or because they just tear, they catch on things, they get battered up, and you get a hole in them. If you were to take the same dried beans, put them into a vacuum seal bag, and vacuum seal those beans, that you will extend the shelf life on those by at least 3 times. 3 times at least. So this is one of the really good things to be aware of, and I should have talked about this. And like I said, vacuum sealers are now a dime a dozen. Like you can even get little tiny handheld heat sealing ones for $5. Now it's best to get the one that's obviously the vacuum seal, because sucking out the air is the most important part, right? Can you let the dogs in? Thank you. Thank you. Nope, go lay down. I don't want your muddy paws on me. So much for the clean floor. So yeah, that was another aspect that I wanted to talk to you guys about, was vacuum sealers. Really, really cheap. They go on sale all the time. Places like Walmart and grocery stores and Lidl's and Aldi's and those kind of places will have them at least once or twice a year. You'll get them, and I've never seen them in a store for more than like $10-15. Really, 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 really. Be aware when you're storing things. One of the things to be aware of is breakdown factor of plastics, right? Which is why you can go get. Gorf was just saying, if you go to the make your own wine stores, you can get used 16-liter plastic pails with lids from the grape juice. Yes, those are food grade plastics. If you go to bulk food stores, you can almost always get them off them, because they get things like the big massive pails of peanut butter or all of jams, things like that. Those are brilliant for storing your stuff in, because what you can do in that case is you can take, let's say, your bags, you put your bags of rice and your flour, etc. in it. You can throw a large quality, like a large oxygen absorber into the top, press that lid down on. The oxygen absorber will pull out all the oxygen that's in around the empty spaces in your pail, and those pails will give you some serious long-term storage. Serious long-term storage. If you've bought flour, so I was talking to everyone about saying, like, in England especially, buy fucking flour, because the flour yields this year were atrocious. Wheat fields did not do well. You can go get your bags of flour, and even if you get like the paper, like 1-2 kilo bags of flour, to extend the life of that, drop it into a heat seal, vacuum seal bag, and vacuum seal it. Done. You've got that flour will last like 3 times as long as what the label is, because they're the best before dates are because they're in paper bags, right? So these are some of the options. So I just wanted to put that out there for everyone. Lori asked a question earlier, because everyone talks about, not everyone, I talk about cabbage all the time. Yes, cabbage in the freezer medicinally will absolutely work. What I always suggest, if you're freezing cabbage, to use as, for example, like poultices for sore joints, for sore muscles, etc., you want the whole leaves. Don't freeze the cabbage as a whole. Peel off your leaves, like the same way as you would if you were making cabbage rolls. Peel off your leaves, lay them out on a tray, drop it in the freezer. When they're frozen, then you can stack them all together and put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them frozen in there for just to be able to grab out 1 leaf, 2 leaves, etc. when you need them. Yes, medicinally, you can freeze the cabbage and it will work really, really well for poultices, for sore joints, etc. And if you have an injury and you have a cold, and you can literally use frozen cabbage as your cold pack on, like, you know, an injury, you've twisted something and you need to bring the swelling down, it's like double useful. Okay, so hold on, it's backing up here. You guys all talk about wine. You're so funny. Gorf started it. It's all his problem. He started this. Yeah, okay, Jimmy also put a note in here saying if you're vacuum sealing hard things, you can place it between 2 sheets of paper. That's one of the, that's really, because that'll help prevent, for example, if you're doing pasta, it'll help prevent the pasta, or a sharp corner of the pasta, from poking through the bag and destroying the seal. So think of that as well, and that's why a lot of times what I will do is for example, with pasta, if I've got bags of pasta, put the entire bag of pasta in, and I'll snip the top off the bag of pasta so that when I vacuum seal it, it will literally vacuum seal inside the bag of pasta as well. And then you've got the extra layer to make sure that it doesn't pierce the plastic and then you don't end up ruining what you've just heat sealed. Tee hee 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 hee. Yeah, I mean, and those literally, be creative when you talk about things like the like 5-gallon or 15-liter and 12-liter pails that are food grade plastic. Make sure you guys, it's really important that you look for something that's food grade plastic. The places where you make your own wine, the places that have bulk food, anything, even some restaurants, right? For example, I had a friend who worked at Golden Griddle, and that's what they got their syrup in, was big, huge things, and I got a couple off of them. So this is all of these are little ideas that help you get stuff, and you can buy them for like really, really cheap, really, really cheap. Be aware of Ziploc bags, like I said, because plastics, the quality of plastic these days is atrociously bad. It is, in my opinion, worth it. Like I said, I think when I was doing the first aid show, that I had ordered some brand new Ziploc bags. They're really big, but the extra heavy duty weight, so the kind of thing that you get when you buy products that have got really protective packaging, you can buy those. If you're going to store food and you're going to use some Ziplocs, I would highly recommend upgrading, spend the extra cash, get some really, really heavy duty plastic Ziploc bags. Because there's nothing worse than going through, like, for example, all the effort to dehydrate whatever it is that you're dehydrating, store it, and you pull it out 6 months later and you find out the little hole is ripped through it. And now the whole thing is basically garbage because you don't know what's come in contact or what's contaminated it. So, yeah. Anyone else want to add on to that? Was there anything else? I can't remember what else there was, other things I wanted to cover, but of course, like I said, I've totally forgotten it, and I didn't bring my notebook with me, so sorry. Yeah, when we talk about food storage and food, things like that, Charlotte just brought up raw honey. Yeah, if you can, the best thing to do is make friends with someone who's a beekeeper. I recommend that to anyone. Try and find someone who's a beekeeper to become really good friends with, so that you have a constant supply of honey. Or if you have your own land, start keeping your own bees. It's not that difficult. In the UnFuckers library, I have a pile of books on beekeeping, like do-it-yourself beekeeping, how to start up your own small beekeeping, just on your own property. And you don't need to have a farm. You don't need to have a farm, right? So, and everything about it is everything for keeping bees. Absolutely everything is vitally usable, as not only that you can use yourself, but also as a commodity, a trading commodity. Beeswax, good quality beeswax is worth so much, in my opinion. And of course, honey. You have pollens, etc., etc. So it's one of those things. If you can get yourself set up to keep some bees, possibly not the best thing to do if you're allergic to bee stings. Just saying. Yes, find anyone who's a beekeeper. Join a local beekeepers group, and just make friends. Make friends. Beekeepers are the friends you definitely want to have. Keep yourself with a continuous supply. Neither honey nor beeswax ever goes bad, so get your hands on as much of it as you can, put it into storage, and away you go. You're fine. And beeswax is really, really important. I mean, for so many things, not just for making candles, but making skincare preparations. I'm extremely picky about the beeswax that I use in all my products, because I use raw beeswax in everything, because that in and of itself adds a huge level of medicinal elements to any product that you're making, whether you're making a cream, a salve, a balm, lotions, etc., etc. It will seriously upgrade everything. Is the quality of honey? Sorry, the quality of beeswax that you use. Yep, I use beeswax for. I mean, you really want to go old-fashioned. It's the best furniture polish you can make is rubbing it down with beeswax. I remember my grandma doing that. Was there anything? Yeah, for zippers, exactly. When you get zippers that are stuck, yeah, beeswax. I remember. Oh fuck, it's been ages since I thought of that, Merce. My grandma used to do that all the time. Awesome. Okay, does anyone have anything else to add to that? Or are we moving along on our conversation? No? Okay. Was there any other questions on all that stuff? Because like I said, I had a bunch of people send me questions, and I don't remember what the questions were. I'm terrible. I've responded to them all privately, but I was going to cover it on the show, and now I've forgotten that. Okay. Oh, that was the other thing. We call it, like, you got your dehydrator, and we've talked about getting your vacuum sealer. Look out for a cheap food processor. I don't have one right now, which fucking sucks. So when I say I grate my carrots, I mean literally with the cheese grater, grating carrots. If you can get yourself a little food processor, and again, they're all over the place, secondhand, you can pick them up for not that expensive, well worth having. Well worth having.
Danny.
Oh, yeah, darling. Hi, Christy.
Hello. For food foraging, having a cheap pair of leather gloves, so when you come across anything with thorns, you're not chewing your hands up.
Yeah. I may even have, is my foraging bag here? I think it's got it pretty much, my foraging bag is pretty much empty. I have a foraging bag that sits by the door, and it's full of things like all kinds of Ziploc bags, and then larger carry bags. It's been emptied out for the most, except for these dock leaf, because I got done by the nettles, so I had to pick a dock leaf to treat my nettle stings. I keep, everywhere I go, that bag goes with me. I have a pair of thinner gardening gloves that just have like the rubberized palms. So very, very minor protection, very, very minor. It's just enough to almost kind of keep your fingers dry more than anything. I have a pair of heavy-duty leather palmed like work gloves for exactly that when I'm picking brambles or hawthorns or any of the multitude of other really prickly yet delicious, wonderful things. I always have leather gloves in there as well. And scissors, I always have scissors and a little shovelly thing. So for mushrooms and things like that. Yeah.
And those leather gloves are also wonderful if you're cooking with cast iron over an open fire.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I've burnt myself many a time doing exactly that. Yeah, I've said this before too. Like, if you ever come across cast iron skillets, frying pans, griddles, pots, secondhand, grab that shit up. They're worth their weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. Seriously, cast iron is well worth its weight in gold. And I'll put together a tutorial. I've talked about it multiple times on shows, but I'll put together a tutorial because I have no cast iron is ever so far gone that has to be thrown away. You can bring it, always bring it back. And I have been given pieces that were so terrifying. A little bit of elbow grease, and you can bring them right back to new. And the older stuff is the best stuff, in my opinion. So yeah, always get cast iron. Cast iron's the best stuff. I don't have any at the moment. It makes me very sad. I have a lovely collection of cast iron pots in storage in Canada, though, if that counts. Tee-hee-hee. Yeah, cast iron. freaking awesome because you can use it in the kitchen, you can use it on a campfire, you can use it on a gas stove, an electric stove. It doesn't matter. You can use it on anything. Go anywhere, do anything. It's perfect.
Danny, on another topic.
Yeah.
Somehow this week I heard the UK is going to another lockdown.
Oh, no, you wanted me to go there. Yes!
I'm wondering
Yes!
if you are able to send packages anywhere.
Oh, yeah. I can send packages. It's not a problem. No, that's sending packages is not a problem. No, they're working on that full lockdown thing. They went to the rule of 6 on the 14th of September. And the government explanation of the rule of 6 is insane. Like, you just have to read it to go, what? That's about as clear as fucking mud. So because we have 6 people in our family, basically by the government mandates, we're not allowed to meet up with anyone else. Yet, you can have an extended family. So I just keep joking. We've got a few friends like Gail, you're part of our extended family. You're official. So fuck everyone who says anything otherwise. You are only allowed to have 6 people together at a table in a pub. You can't gather outside. 6 children cannot go gathering outside. Here's the hypocrisy, though. So we'll go to the first level of the whole thing. Someone posted a meme. I reposted it on PocketNet. It was like 7 children can't go to the park and feed the ducks together, but 30 hunters can go to the park and hunt the ducks. Literally. There's no limit on hunters. Hunting parties can go out all they want. There's no limit. They could send 100 people, could all go out together and go, we're going hunting. And it's no problem. Yet you are not allowed to go to the park and have more than 6 people together at the park. You're not allowed to go to the grocery store and have more than 6 people together at the grocery store. You are not allowed to go anywhere. But the children can go to school. So they can go to school for 6 hours a day, but they can't go to the park together. Then they turned around, and I think it was just yesterday, they've announced that all pubs are now have to close at 10 o'clock. Because apparently, COVID knows how to tell time, and it's nocturnal. So COVID only comes out after 10 o'clock at night, apparently. Now, I get it. I've had this argument with a few people who are like, well, it's to stop drunk people, because drunk people don't do social distancing. I'm like, A, no one in a pub does social distancing anyway. B, I have seen people blind fucking drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the pub singing karaoke into their shoe. So the time is not going to make a difference. If someone's decided they're going to the pub and they're going to get their drink on, they're just going to go and do it faster and earlier. It's not closing it an hour early. It's not going to make any difference. 2 hours early, 3 hours, 4. They're threatening that it could go down to the point of like forcing some places to close. They'd have to close at like 6 o'clock at night. I'm talking pubs on the weekend.
Danny,
Yeah.
being in lockdown for 7 weeks, day drinking's awesome.
Day drinking is awesome. Didn't we prove this with the first lockdown?
Yeah, well, especially here in Australia, the bottle shops and liquor stores are essential, and I think that's part of the control mechanism of government. It's
Same
like
here.
we're going to lock everyone down, so we really think everyone should get drunk and sort of get cranky at home. So
Yep.
A short update for Victoria. I don't care anymore. It still sucks. We're about this Sunday is supposed to be the end of stage 4 lockdown. And then someone pointed out, but it's stage 3 lockdown till the 26th of October. And so we're in lockdown for another 4.5 weeks. And
what's the difference between stage 4 and stage 3? Can you illuminate that for us? Because really,
I think the curfew. I don't know. They just changed things where apparently because I live alone, I can have a social bubble with someone else who lives alone. It's about numbers. So like after Sunday, 5 people can meet or something. and all it's all that ridiculousness. But well, you know me enough well enough where I'm like, shut up, I don't care anymore because
I don't care anymore.
But apparently the curfew's moved from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh, how generous of them!
Oh yeah, our warden's lovely because now we can go exercise for 2 hours instead of 1 hour, and so it's doing all this weird stuff. And but yeah, basically we're still in lockdown. Apart from I think it was June, we had 4 weeks of stage 2 lockdown again, but we've been in lockdown since the 21st of March. It's like 188 days.
I know, it's fucking insane, and that's
Yeah,
I think that's where England's going.
Well, yeah.
And like I said to you, I mentioned this
the
last week. Oh, we're talking over each other.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Just very quickly, I saw a headline. I think it was on RT, but you'll like it though. The general public of the United Kingdom really don't care because they've lost faith in all their leaders. Well, we may go into a lockdown. That's nice, love. So being there, you would probably see it as well, where if they try and enforce, especially with 6, I've seen some adverts where it's like 6, 6, 6, and it's like, what are you, Satan? What are you doing?
This is everyone I've spoken. Go ahead, Tracy.
How are you, my darling?
Hello, darling.
Well, here in Gateshead, Newcastle, Sunderland, North East, we've all gone into a local lockdown again. What a load of bollocks. No one's taking any notice of it. No one's paying any attention because we've had that bit of freedom over the summer, and now it's like, fuck off. 6 people. Off. Everybody's just coming.
Fuck off. Exactly. I know. And that's this is the thing. For the last 2 weeks, everyone I've talked to is, like I said, and I think I talked about this last week, the average muggle on the streets is talking about the lockdown that is coming. It's a done deal. They know it's going to happen. They know, they're like, oh, well, it's going to happen. They're going to lock us down again. It's going to be full-on lockdown like it was in March. So the average person is kind of like knowing that that's coming, but the kind of attitude from a lot of people is like, the pub next door where we go, literally it's like, 6 people to a table. Yeah, whatever, unless it's karaoke night, in which case we can have everyone. Well, let's see your mask. Nice. Hold on, here we go. Well, okay, so now you've just let in on the astrology show on Saturday. I got kind of like the brain blast of like, this year's going to be there's going to be some shit happening in October. Be prepared. There's going to be some serious shit happening in October. One of the things I said is, first of all, worldwide, you can see them cancel Halloween. Halloween is going to end up being canceled this year. They're going to do it, and it's going to piss everyone the fuck off. But in England, I'm calling it now. They're going to end up trying to cancel, remember, the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day. And I said, probably because a lot of Brits are going to turn around and be going, Guy Fawkes, maybe that guy actually had the right idea. I literally opened up, someone sent me a message this morning, and she said this was from like her aunt, someone who is just totally just the general public, not awake at all. And it was like, remember the 5th of November? And there's like the meme of like the little girl looking all real smirky, and the blowing up Parliament, and it was like, Guy Fawkes Day, maybe he had the right idea. And I'm just like, I called it. I fucking called it. People are like sitting there going, oh, wait a second, maybe we need to blow up Parliament. Maybe a guy, So anyways, I'm making a joke, by the way. That's just a joke. But we're going to see people are going to be pissed because they're not going to let Guy Fawkes Day go ahead. They're going to do everything in their power to stop people gathering, no fires, no fireworks, etc. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that doesn't go through, and people are going to just revolt as far as I'm concerned. What do you think, Tracy? Do you think so? You're muted, love. I can't hear you. Oh, there you are. Say again.
talking to my neighbour over the back who is awake a muggle. They're like, no, there's something else going on. They're not going to, the government cannot stop. What are they going to do? And then it was, oh, we're going to have the military in to backfill. They're not going to have any powers of arrest or any special powers, but we're going to have the military in to backfill where the police kind of, and I'm like, so we're going to go into martial law, are we? And she just looked at me and I was like, I said, this is all getting to where they want us to be. I said, never mind all these, little things. Oh, it's 6. And then it's space, and all of this shit. And I'm like, no, this is just getting us slowly, step by step, to where they want us to be. The northeast of England, we don't give a fuck. We do what we want. Unfortunately, we don't give a fuck. It's like nobody tells us what to do. And you kind of look around, and I'm like, yeah, you're wearing face masks, but the minute you're out of the shop, you're taking them off. And you're kind of like, no social distancing whatsoever up here. And it's just like, I think people are saying, this is just another virus that we're going to have to live with.
Uh-huh.
And the British population are not going to put up with this much longer, because they're making a joke about all the rules, they're changing them. Then when COVID died down a little bit, it was BREXIT. And there was Boris the Clown saying, no, this isn't fit for purpose. Well, you signed it. That was the whole premise. That
I know. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
And it's like, Brexit, no, we're going to get Brexit done. That's how you won the election. And now you're saying, nah, it's shit.
I know.
National law. And you're like, no, we need to get back to Brexit again. No, sorry, no, COVID again.
No, let's keep everyone confused. Okay, I want to talk about something. Oh, wait, no, I didn't want that. Not that. Close that. That's the video. Hold on.
Here we go. It's just an absolute farce, and I don't think people have faith in anybody, any member of parliament, any prime minister at all anymore. I just think it is getting to the stage where it's like, I'm sick of your bullshit. Let's just rewind the clock to 1982.
It's almost like the British government's gone, oh, you voted wrong in Brexit, so how can we completely fuck this in the ass so we stay?
Listen, there's some shit coming out with the Brexit. So it hit the news that people who are, so British people, UK citizens living in the EU have gotten notices from the big banks, from Lloyds, from Barclays, Bank of Scotland, saying, oh, we're closing down your accounts, your English accounts, and the 31st of December, we have to close them all down because there's no Brexit deal and none of the banking things have gone through or been organized. And people are freaking out because it's like, wait, you got your business accounts in the UK, but you're living in France, you're living in Spain, you're living in fucking, I don't know. And they're saying they're going to close down the accounts? These letters, and it was a big, huge article about it, saying people are just furious. There's a huge amount of distraction going on here. But I want to talk about one other thing that happened. Another little thing that happened this weekend. I put it all over Facebook, PocketNet, etc. Let me get the share screen here. Okay. This is a tweet that went out on Sunday. The NHS is the National Health Services in England. This is their official Twitter account. I verified it. It's been double, triple, quadruple verified. They put out a tweet on Sunday saying, to be household prepared, ensure you have a plan and supplies for 72 hours or more depending on circumstances. Create a grab bag with key items in case of sudden evacuation. Now, as you can see, I did a Google search on it to verify. It came up in the Google search here, but the Twitter post had been pulled down. Now, there was an article, now this is in Southwest England, 2 different counties put out Twitter posts exactly like this. And the verbiage is not a, hey, this is Emergency Preparedness Month, which it is. September officially is Emergency Preparedness Month. Gee, I wonder why it's September always. Anyways, I won't go there. It wasn't like they put it out saying, oh, and then for Emergency Preparedness Month, have you looked at having a bug out bag? Da, da, da. No, 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 no. It was put out. People in the county where that was put out lost their shit. We're calling the police, calling the NHS, calling their local council saying, what the fuck? What's coming? What do you know that you're not telling us? Why are you telling us we need it? Not, again, in the verbiage, the way it was worded was like, you need to have an evacuation bag ready with your ID, your phone card, change of clothes, your medicines, etc. It was not even slightly worded like a this is a good idea, emergency preparedness month, yada yada yada. Now the council then took down the Twitter post, and then made an excuse saying, well, you know, it's emergency preparedness month. We're just putting out these tweets to, you know, make sure people are informed. It's like, wait, it's emergency preparedness month? And you thought you'd wait until the 20th day of emergency preparedness month to finally make some kind of a statement about emergency preparedness month, and you worded it this way? Not fucking likely. I'm sorry. Every alarm bell in my head went off, what's going on? What's going on? What do they know? 2 different counties put that out. 2 different counties in England put that same type of message out. Both on the same day. Now, it just so happens that we have 2 major asteroids flying by Earth in the next 2 days. Close. Real fucking close. Like, really, really fucking close. So there was a site, and unfortunately, Nick found it, and then we've lost the link. We can't find it no matter, he's gone through his history. It's like it just never fucking existed. And it was a British-based site talking about these asteroids coming by and saying things like, well, is this thing going to hit us? Like, how close is close, basically? So, I don't know. Weird fucking shit. And timing is suspect. Timing is on this shit is always fucking suspect.
Danny, have you heard
hold on a second, Tracy. And what did you just hold on here? Anne just said the main asteroid observatory is offline. The one in Puerto Rico has been offline since August. Say what now?
Yeah, apparently, or the story is it had an accident. One of its stabilizing wires was broken and the whole thing tipped over. So, yeah, it's been offline since August.
Really? An accident? You mean
an accident?
An accident like the laptop that contained all the paperwork on the Grenville fire? Just accidentally had its memory wiped, and there's no files. There's no secondary files made. It wasn't put on a cloud. It wasn't given to anyone else. Accidentally we erased the entire laptop with all the evidence of government corruption that proves that the Grenville tower fire was, that kind of an accident.
It just fell down some stairs. Nothing to worry about.
Yep.
Yeah. Funny how often that shit happens. Accidentally.
Apparently there's supposed to be a fake alien invasion as well.
Well, I've got that. I have that on my cards for September, but my bingo card. But so far, I'm lucking out on that one.
We must be near to bingo soon, how we?
I'm real close to bingo. Let me tell you, I'm really close to bingo, and I do have the asteroid. I do have an asteroid collision in my September bingo card. So there you go.
What do you win if you get bingo? That's my question.
Nothing. You get to jump up and down and go, I have bingo!
Crap.
I called it! Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. What was the other thing? There was one other thing. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to talk about. Like, the insanity is just fucking insane. Like, holy shit, fucking insane. Oh, okay, this one. Try this one on. Go to vaccines now. Jump into this one. And of course, I don't have the link available. I will dig up the link because I'm pretty sure I posted it on PocketNet. I will find the link. One of the big vaccine companies for COVID-19 vaccine, has just had to stop their testing phase again when one of the testing people had a neuro episode and started saying things like they've killed God, they've cut off God, my soul is gone, etc., etc. Well, again, this is not hearsay. This was actually outlined in mainstream news. This is what the person said. This kind of stuff. And I said to Nick, isn't that funny how we know that the Pentagon fully outed? I have the document somewhere. I will find the document. I have the document somewhere. And you guys have probably seen the video. The Pentagon talked about making a vaccine to calm religious fundamentalism, to basically fuck with people's centers that would basically turn them into emotional eunuchs. That's what it comes down to. Because people, if they don't care about anything, then the whole religious drive is going to just dry up and disappear as well. So they've, yeah, exactly, Panda, turned them into an NPC, right? So we have admitted evidence that the Pentagon is designing this, and that was not just recently, that's actually quite a while ago. DARPA has fully admitted to creating things that can control people's emotions, can control people's bodies, their thoughts, can put thoughts into their head. This, again, is not hearsay. This is not conspiracy theory. This is fully admitted. The scientific papers are out there. Okay? Now, a little bit of an interesting tidbit. Back in 2015, I was watching the stock market really, really closely because we were watching certain companies moving around and shifting funds, let's just say. And out of the blue, there was a pharmaceutical company that gained 900% overnight. And like alarm bells go ding, 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 900% overnight. What are they doing? So I went in and I researched them. And it turned out that they had just announced that they were getting ready to start trials on a cervical cancer vaccine. And they were partnered with the chief nano designer from NEC in Japan. So I go researching. Now, NEC and the area of NEC that this guy ran, I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. The area of the company that he ran was nanotechnology. That's all, not biological, nano, purely nanotech. This company has never had any dealings with medical technology, biological systems, in any way, shape, or form. Nothing. Yet all of a sudden, this cancer vaccine company is tying up with the nanotechnology company. Oh, and the previous premier or prime minister of Australia's wife was an executive for the company. Yeah, I blew that all over the news. Okay. Now we have this push for vaccines, this huge push for the COVID vaccine, which is stupid. It is retarded. We know for a fact that the antibodies, even if you have COVID, the antibodies are gone out of your body within 8 weeks. It's fully admitted. The studies have been done. Again, this is not conspiracy theory. This is fully outed information, scientifically proven that the antibodies don't stay longer than 8 weeks, which means a vaccine won't work unless you're going to convince the public to vaccinate every 6 to 8 weeks. It's not going to fucking work. You got masks, you've got all this. We know the death toll is garbage. We know the seriousness of the infection is bullshit. We know that it's weaker than the average seasonal flu. Again, not conspiracy theory, proven hardcore science. Yet they're pushing this vaccine. Now, I'm always one, because I understand how the vaccine marketing and buying and selling works on the financial markets. They use vaccines in order to create massive amounts of money in the system. That's what the H1N1 vaccine was all about. Right? You know, the vaccine that was owned by Rumsfeld, who owned the patents on that, and then convinced the entire world that there was going to be an H1N1 pandemic, and convinced the World Health Organization and countries everywhere to buy billions upon billions of this vaccine that they didn't need, that didn't work, and only had a shelf life of 6 months. So basically 6 months after they bought it, they had to throw them all in the garbage anyway. That was a money-making scheme. That's how they create money. When the system's broken and the system's empty, and you've got to create something of value, of money to put back into the market. That's how they did it. So with this whole COVID vaccine, I thought they were trying to replay that again. But now this little article, that whole, they've killed God, and basically my soul is gone. They've taken my soul. Now, if you're a very religious person, or let's not even say very religious, let's just say that you have the typical amount of religious programming that's put on the vast majority of people, who doesn't understand consciousness, who doesn't understand all these kinds of nanotechnology. If someone fucks with your head, injects you with something that fucks with your head, that, maybe does something to shut down a certain level of your consciousness, to shut down those centers that maybe give you that extra space, that peace that people don't understand, they don't comprehend it, so they call it their soul, that communication that we have with whatever you want to call it, universe, source, God, whatever. Insert your own name here. And all of a sudden that's turned off? I don't know. But I found it really, really fucking interesting. Yeah, Charlotte, it's already been done with fluoride in the water. Yes, but we're not talking at a much bigger level. Fluoride in the water is like the baby aspirin to this, and this is the fucking morphine. Right? We've seen it. Fluoride in the water, lithium in the water. My God, the amount of lithium that's been pumped into the atmosphere and found in water supplies. What is lithium? Lithium is the drug that makes you a mindless zombie that has zero emotions. Zero emotional connection to anything. And
Danny, that reminds me of that movie. I can't remember, where everything is in black and white, and the people, when they go outside, they have every time to get an injection at the door, right? And they have to get all the feelings and the humanity out, and then there's one guy that gets selected to learn the true history of the people, and then
what movie was that?
Colorful.
Oh.
And he stops using these injections and stuff.
Yes. TH13, the George Lucas's short film, or am I?
The Giver.
Okay.
The Giver?
Yes, exactly.
The Giver.
Exactly.
The Giver.
Good movie.
Interesting.
I saw a headline, because I don't read articles anymore because I find them pointless. But someone's putting the idea out there that we're going to see a rise of Parkinson's disease because of the COVID-19.
Or the vaccine, you mean?
Yeah, I know. I've made that connection. So you're going to blame the vaccine instead of...
Well, listen, here's the thing. We've got... So first of all, just backtrack. When I went to go look for my original report about that pharmaceutical company and the NEC director and how it was all tied together, and I fucking put it all together in that court, that report is gone. Gone. It's not on YouTube anymore. It's not on my website anymore. I can't search it. I can't find it. Even using keywords that should have come up in a Google search. I tried DuckDuckGo. No, that article is gone. I have no idea. I have it somewhere on one of my hard drives, but it would mean like hundreds of hours of going through and reviewing every, because I don't know which one it is, right? Like you literally have to go back and watch every single news show that I did for a year, which is like 120 news shows, 130 news shows.
Isn't there a web page where you can research all?
It's not there.
Even on that?
If I had the direct link, probably, but I don't have the direct link.
I mean, where you
It's gone off my own website.
Where you can research anything which once was posted on the internet. There's a web page where you can research.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but
Are you talking about the Wayback Machine?
Yes, the Wayback.
Yes, the Wayback Machine. The problem is the Wayback Machine is for finding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. To the best of my knowledge, the Wayback Machine is for finding specific links that have then been erased. But if you don't have the link, I don't know that it works as a search function. I think you have to have the exact link. In other words, they capture all those links. So, when the FDA makes a fucking ridiculous fucking statement back in 2010 about organic foods, and they then took it off their website, you could, even though if you went to their website and you, for example, if I had that link saved, I could just type it in. It would go to a 404 on their website. I could take the same link, go to the Wayback Machine, and still be able to pull up a copy. But you have to have the link. Now, again, tell me if I'm wrong, is if I don't think there's a search option other than using direct links on the Wayback Machine. I can't find it. I can't, and because I can't find it, I can't remember the name of the actual pharmaceutical company, because I would be able to double backtrack, other than the fact of I remembered it was NEC, was their partner. I don't have the information. It's gone off my website. It's vanished. Off of YouTube, vanished. It's just gone. And all I remember is it was a report I did in 2015. And I remember, how many months ago was it? Everyone was going through crazy on Google a few months back saying, oh my God, look, Google's working again. Google Images. If you Google this, all the information's coming up. If you Google that, all the information's coming up. Yeah. And everyone was trying to say it was a QAnon thing. Yeah, no. Google is so fucking broken again right now. Like I said, I went searching with exact word parameters for that article, using all the proper secret little hashes and things that you insert in to make sure you have the certain words are set and etc. Not a single hit. Not even to my own website. My own website, even though the opening in the search was removing the shackles, my own website, in the 4 pages of search, that's it, 4 pages of search that came up, my own website was not even in there, not even once, even though it's tagged as my website. So, or my old website, anyways. So yeah, I just wanted to drop that little bombshell. Something to think about, something to think about. I'll keep searching for it, because now I've got like a bee in my bonnet. Like, I need to find that fucking information. I need to remember what pharmaceutical company that was and which vaccine that was. Yeah. It all be done, be fucked, folks.
I wonder if it might have been Glaxo who did this papilloma.
Nope,
No?
it wasn't. It was not one of the big boys, Mercedes. It was not one of the big boys. It was a company I'd never heard of before. And that's what triggered it for me to go searching and do an in-depth search on the company. It was a pharmaceutical company I've never heard of, creating a vaccine that I'd not heard anything about previously until this happened. So that's what made me, was the fact that I've never heard of this company, and they have a 900% increase in one day.
Couldn't you find it in a research on the stock market?
Again, though, it would hours and hours of work that I just don't have right now. I just don't have the hours to put in to go and do it. Because yeah, you could absolutely. Someone who has access to the stock market, 2015 pharmaceutical company that had a 900% jump. I think it was like 923% or something in overnight. And it was based on the announcement of this it was a cervical cancer vaccine that they were putting out. That's all the information I have. So I want to go look for
I
it.
remember
Have
hearing
fun.
about that one. Yeah.
Yep.
But I forget what company though.
Yep. New ideas. New ideas.
Isn't that Gardasil? HPV, Gardasil or something? No.
No, love. They're not joking. It's a company I've never heard of before. Never heard of. Little tiny, small, little company. Like I said, if it had been Gardasil, I would have been like, fuck, what are they up to this time? No. This was something really small, never heard of before, and that's why I went looking.
I tell you, when I saw that article where that, where the patient was saying they can't feel God anymore, I had a chill run through my veins. Because I knew I knew they were telling the truth. And they want to make it look like, even though obviously it doesn't look good, but, like another person would be like, well, maybe that girl's mental or something.
And that's how they tried to present it. It was kind of like, well, this is what she was talking about, God. But you can look beyond that. Like I said, someone who would associate for lack of terminology and words in English, our consciousness and how it expands and how we can connect to other things, our higher, I hate that term, our higher selves, etc., etc. They would put it in religious terminology. And that's what I got immediately when I saw the article, was like, take the religious terminology out, and they're talking about that exactly, like their greater consciousness has just been like
disconnected.
Yeah.
That is absolutely chilling. And yeah, that video from way back where they were showing that guy giving the presentation, they were more or less aligning it to Middle East stuff at that time. But just goes to show you, man, that's, yeah.
And that video from the Pentagon, yes, they were aligning it, they were presenting it to Congress as this is what we'll do for the Middle East to stop all these radical jihadists. We're going to get them a vaccine that will turn off all that religious fundamentalism. Right now, one of the biggest thorns in the side of American, shall we say, and Canadian too, and no doubt British and all the rest, that movement of globalization, that whole, New World Order, the shit that we see being spouted, are the religious fundamentalists in the States, i.e. your Bible Belt Baptists, who are against all of that kind of stuff, and who are a continuous thorn in the side of pushing through some of those, I'm sorry to say, I'm going to say the A word, things like abortion, and I'm not going to get into that fucking discussion here, but that's one of the major tug of wars that has been going on for years and years. So to think that they're going to use it only on the Middle Eastern people when they want to control their own religious people.
They're not, but the thing is that all these churches here in Houston put the big fucking signs out saying, hey, come on in here and get tested. So they're all in line with this bullshit. My sister, who, is like, I always call her Miss Perfect because in this world, she would be considered perfect. She's already been to get tested, took her freaking kids. I just, I would really hope that the Christians would be a little bit, have their eyes opened a little bit more, but it just doesn't seem like it.
But here's the thing. that if, and it's a big if what we're talking about is actually a piece of nanotechnology that they're putting into the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, if they're not going to tell the religious groups, they're not going to tell these like you say, these ministers and their fucking multi-million-dollar palatial churches that seat 10,000 people, they're not going to tell them that that's what's in the vaccine. No. They're going to tell them some cockamamie story that's going to go along with, well, you've got to get to, we won't let you open, we're not going to allow you to open your doors unless you can get your entire congregation vaccinated. Then you can have everyone come back. And since they feed off of the public trough of gullibility, and they need everyone's money, i.e. to pass the plate around, they need people going back to church. So they'll fall in for it. But they're not going to tell them if that kind of nanotechnology is in the vaccine. They're not going to tell them that. Uh-oh. Well, here, come answer it. I really shouldn't. Don't care. Go.
Interesting enough,
I
here in
guarantee that's
Australia,
probably Gail.
The Prime Minister said, "Oh, we've made a deal for a vaccine," and then the company making the vaccine is like, "No, you haven't." And like, "Oh, that went well." Except the weird thing is that people found out that they're using cells from aborted fetuses, and the Catholic Church in Australia said, "We're not going to take this vaccine on moral grounds."
Really? They actually stood up and said, well, what are they going to do about the MMR vaccine and the chickenpox vaccine and the polio vaccine?
Yeah. I know.
Which are all grown on aborted fetus cells.
Yeah.
So they actually said that?
Yeah, actually, it made the mainstream news.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it was the Oxford vaccine or something. They actually said, on moral grounds, we will not take this because of blah blah blah. And like, oh, that's interesting. And quickly, have you noticed,
darling? If you find the link to that, can you send me that link? Because
yeah,
I'm gonna need to save that link just to slam in a few people's faces, gently, of course. But I will use it. So please send me the link.
I'm hoping it's still in my timeline.
No, you know,
also,
go ahead. Sorry, I'll go after you.
I was just going to make a quick joke of, have you noticed there's hardly been any terrorism this year? It's amazing what happens when the US government doesn't fund it.
You know, as far as this, I just know that they have to have your consent to get that vaccination. Like, you know, whether they disadvantage you to hell and back for you to be forced into it, you know, but it just seems like on a spiritual level, you have to give consent. I just don't see that working on anybody that's awake. If they get forced to take that shot, I would look for something supernatural to happen.
Remember though, in US, they said it's not going to be mandatory for people to take it.
No, they're just going to force you to take it because they're going to cut off all your funding if you don't take it, but it won't be mandatory.
You know, all of this reminds me of training a dog, right? You're training the dog never questions what happens, right? Until there comes one day the dog does everything you ask for, right? And I believe that is how they try to make it with the vaccines, and whatever is coming in the future, they want to prepare us to say always yes and to follow orders, right? But something is definitely coming.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Now, Anne brought up a good point here, and is that the homeopaths, whenever there's one of these vaccines type thing come out, is she said, or maybe Anne, you can come out and explain that, because now everyone's chatting and I've just lost it, about making a remedy. Oh my God!
Yeah, you can potentize any vaccine. At the moment, the homeopaths are getting this year's flu mist, for instance. So if you have somebody who's been damaged by this year's flu mist, you can give them the remedy impotency. That's one way of working with homeopathy. So the likelihood is, if they manage to come up with and it's a big if, in my opinion, they manage to come up with a vaccine that isn't actually killing people on the spot, that a remedy will be made from it. And if you were in a position where you had to be vaccinated, that you could take the remedy more or less as the needle goes in your arm. However, I did listen to douchebag Dershowitz debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the notion of mandatory vaccination, and it looked very much like, you know, douchebag wouldn't be one. He's certainly not anti-vax, and I think he was really not very aware of the whole vaccination situation when he was interviewed. But it looked very much like it would not be possible to mandate something that had not been through serious safety trials with a long-term safety results. That's more or less what came out of that. It just very unlikely. It's breaking the Nuremberg Code. You know, they just can't. I don't think they can do it.
Well, that's why I wonder, in the UK, they put out the call for public consultation on this, that they're going to push through a vaccine. There's not going to be the proper safety studies on it. They're going to give the companies who make the vaccine immunity, all of these things. Wait. Now, because they've called for public consultation on it, is that them looking for implied consent? If you don't say no, if you don't write in and say no, I will not consent to this. I think the closing date was the 18th, if I'm not mistaken, on that. If you don't say no, they will take it as implied consent, and then they look at like, oh, well, only this many people actually said no, so therefore the majority is. The other interesting piece is the fact that I've seen multiple news stories out of Australia, Canada, England, and the US, and another one in Germany, mainstream news saying that the majority of people would not take a COVID-19 vaccine if and when it becomes available. Now, the spin is always like, oh, what's wrong with these people? Why won't they take the vaccine? They must be fucked in the head. But it's very interesting that it looks like a lot of people are just going, yeah, no, I'm not taking that vaccine. No way. I don't know. Oh, Amina just said the UK emergency powers expire on the 30th of September. Oh, no, wasn't that extended? Didn't they try and push the little quick one through and extend it for 2 years or something stupid like that? Or was that France? Pardon me.
I think it's supposed to be 6 months, Danny. From what Boris the Clown said yesterday, I think it's 6 months that these new rules are going to be in place. It's going to be 6 months.
They did the
and
same
what
thing.
do you think? How quiet actually the whole world has been about how Sweden they've kind of developed their herd immunity.
Yep.
And everyone's so quiet about it, and they're like, "Oh no, it's just a fluke." Yeah, it's a fluke, but they're keeping it so quiet because they are pushing. You know, they want, oh no, this vaccine is going to be the answer to all our COVID problems. So they're not talking about what Sweden has done with their herd immunity and how they've done it. Not on their agenda.
And they're also not talking about the fact that, isn't it interesting that after quite a, we'll call it peaceful few months in Sweden, that when all that information started coming out, all of a sudden Sweden started having riots again about the immigration riots, all of a sudden started up out of the blue to distract the public about, oh, look at all the problems. Sweden's having so many problems, all these violent riots that are happening. Isn't that interesting? Timing, again, just coincidentally, after months of nothing, all of a sudden, that all comes out at the exact same time as the fact that they've reached herd immunity.
Mm-hmm. In Victoria, they've extended we've got state of disaster and state of emergency. And I like this nickname. Dictator Dan wanted to extend it by 12 months. but the opposition actually opposed something finally, and it's down to 6 months, which but they can decide it a month. They only go a month ahead, because the idea is you can't give someone powers for that long. You're only allowed 6 months, because they turn into a dictator. Yeah.
Gee, I wonder.
And that was, yeah, and that was a couple of weeks ago, I think. Yeah, in the last month at least. And so, yeah, I can see everyone being in lockdown till Christmas on a certain level, because if we take what happened in New Zealand, where 102 days without a case, and then one family, I think the family of 8, and 4 of them got COVID, and the country's still isolated from
The rest of the
internationally
world? Yeah.
as well. Yeah, so apparently COVID has it only works during office hours or at night, all this type of stuff. And apparently you can go on a 3-month holiday to Tahiti and then come back. All right, I'm back. I'm rejuvenated. Let's go.
Yep. I know. This is what I'm saying. The entire storyline, and I keep saying this like a broken record, the entire storyline of COVID makes zero sense. The global response, the way governments are handling it, none of it, unless there's something else going on. Logic dictates. I mean, even like you said, when even the average person on the street is going, there's something else going on here. There's something else going on. What's really going on? Because this doesn't make sense. That's not the unfuckers. These are just people who are putting 2 and 2 together and saying, the government's saying 2 and 2 equals 5, and they're going, no, 2 and 2 does not equal 5. There's something going on here.
And as you pointed out on the astrology show, they're coming after conspiracy theorists. Because, I mean, for 6 months of the year, how many people have started a conversation with, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but, and I've actually tweeted, I've said it a couple of times, but I tweeted someone this great line, even if there is no conspiracy of a new world order, what we're seeing is the same script playing out.
Regardless of what the reason is.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what the reason is. And the problem is, when Pandora's box is opened, that box never gets closed again. We've seen it. Looking at American politics as an example, and that's just because it's so out there. Everything is so readily available, the information, right? You have 9/11 happen. You have the formation of Homeland Security. You have all this. Each level has gone up of security, and it's all based on that 9/11 Pandora box opening. None of those steps that have been put into place are ever going to be put back in the box. They will keep adding more steps to it, but they will never put some of them away. So regardless of what their reason is, and like I've hypothesized, is there a catastrophe coming that they know about? An asteroid, comets, fucking magnetic pole shift, the big purple one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater going to appear in the sky, whatever. Regardless of what their reason is, each and every one of these laws that's being put into place will never be rescinded. They keep talking about the new norm, i.e. social distancing and masks and forced vaccines and all these closures, etc., etc. You cannot put the shit back into Pandora's box. So regardless of what their reason is, they can be coming from the most, the most altruistic, thinking they're doing the absolute best thing for humanity, for their country, if you're talking about politicians, etc. Regardless of what they think or what their reasoning behind is it, those laws will never be rescinded. And that is one of the biggest points that I say to people all the time. They want you to accept the new norm. and we can't accept it. We don't want the old norm back either. Fuck no, we don't even want the old norm back. So it's going to be up to the people. Regardless of pandemic, it does not matter. There comes a point when your personal right to privacy, your personal right to liberty, to autonomy for yourself, for your family, your business even, there comes a point where you have to stand up, regardless of what reason they're trying to wave in front of your face, and say, fuck no. Fuck no. However that looks. That's all I have to say. I'm not saying...
Well, I would... question for you then. Because, like, with Ruth Gator Binsberg, whatever her name is, she died again. And you can
they
just see
finally
how
admitted that she's dead.
Yeah, well, I just, when I look at photos of her, I just get like, wow, was she fired from The Wizard of Oz? Because she could have been a witch quite easily. There's just really something wrong with it. But the whole election thing and everything from that is just, it just ramped up to 118 out of 10 now, because they're polarizing. And that's the thing. Like, in storytelling, you write the villain like they think they're doing the right thing, like Thanos from the MCU. He thought he was doing the right thing.
In his world, he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, and so you got the divide and conquer, because you've got I hate labels, but it's just easier. English language sucks. The left, who are fighting Trump, and then you've got the right fighting the leftards who are burning everything down. It's going to be, how are we going to get everyone to get, because it's the system, not the puppet, the personality.
Exactly.
It is it's a corrupt system, and so somehow we have to get everyone together and work against a corrupt system and make humanity move forward. And we can't even, most people can't even decide on what's a good movie anymore. And they die Antifa and blah blah blah. And any Americans out there, I do feel for. I mean, I'm in lockdown like this, in house arrest, but the United States, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm not there, because they're just ramping up that.
But let me just say this. You know what? I really do believe they had that plan for us first, and because it kind of got shifted to Australia, because I think it was easier.
No, Australia's the testing ground. Australia's the testing ground.
At the end of the day, if the U.S. goes down, I really feel this whole world will go down. And at this point in the game, like they just announced the Deutsche Bank deal. I'm sure you saw that.
No.
So they're trillions of dollars. Yeah, they just announced it, girl. They're being held accountable for trillions of dollars of
Deutsche
moving money through there for all kinds of. Yes, they just came out of yesterday, so they're about to fucking hit the banks. Everything I've been saying forever. If Deutsche Bank goes down, it's gonna be like a fucking bam, 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 bam. So
I did it.
It happened.
I warned about that in 2014. I warned everyone, if you have money in Deutsche Bank, if you have accounts tied in any way, shape, and form to Deutsche, get them moved, get them out, because Deutsche is going down.
All the big banks are all connected. That's what I'm saying.
They are, exactly. They're all tied to Deutsche. They're all tied.
Yes, and so this just happened yesterday. So all, this whole lead up to this election, what a fucking nightmare. And I'm gonna tell you,
but this is the thing though, Dawn, this is another one of those repeats, because in 2012 and 13 we knew the shit with Deutsche was going on. It was fully outed then. It was then fully outed again in 2015. So it's another one of those cyclical repeats that we just keep seeing. Certain news bites keep coming back up, and it's like they put them back through and everyone goes, oh, and I'm like, we know this. This isn't new. The shit about Deutsche is not new. It has been public record for fucking ages now. They've been holding it off.
That's what they're saying now. Exactly. That's what they're saying now. That it's all stuff for which they are already been trialed and have paid.
Exactly. But there's an agenda at play here. Again, right? Like there's a further agenda at play, a lot bigger agenda at play. All these banks are bankrupt, right? Like this is the thing to remember. Deutsche has been bankrupt since 2011. Bankrupt since 2011.
But you got to look at it from the beings running this fucking place. Okay, their goal is to take it all down.
Oh,
so we're gonna watch. All of us. So that's what I'm saying. Look at it from the level like if you were running a fucking planet.
But this is why I've been saying to everyone, get your money out of the bank. If you've got any 2 pennies, put it together, get it under your mattress. Get your money out of the bank. If you have stocks, if you have fucking like government savings bonds, if you have any of that shit, fucking cash it out. Even, I'm sorry, even if you have to take a massive loss on it, and Nick's got a pension with the union in Canada, and we're going to try and do everything we can to get out. And we know it's a long fucking process, and they do everything. They will put as many roadblocks in your way as you can come up with to stop you. Get your money out of the system, because it's all going down. It's all going down. And anyone caught with it, it's just going to be poof. I have a friend. I have a really good friend. When the stock market crashed back earlier this year, we remember that? Does anyone remember that massive stock market crash?
Yes.
A lot of people lost their fucking shirts, and I personally have a good friend who lost hundreds of thousands of stuff that was tied into government bonds to do with their pension. They lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
you think
everyone's conveniently forgotten that. That was a big, take a whole chunk of money out of the system. Boom. And then everyone turns around and goes, oh, but look, Donald Trump. And now it's all right back again. It's not right fucking back again. It's not right fucking back again. No. It's because all the money that was pulled out when that crash happened did not go back in. It did not go back in. All those people did not recuperate fucking jack shit.
The question is, are they going to try to crash this bitch before the election?
Of course they will. Of course they're going to try. They're going to try everything they can.
I asked on my show today.
Stop it. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm
like with 2020, with everything that we've seen, where it's just like, oh mate, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? In an election year, they have what's called an October surprise. I'll be fascinated to see what that surprise will be this time, because with everything we've gone through, how are you going to top that? And so it could be the economy crashing so they can try and take Trump down so they can get Biden in.
And that's all fine and dandy for the States. But listen, I'm sorry, Dawn, I get what you're saying. That's not how it's going to work. The rest of the world has got their own fucking concerns that don't have to do with America. And I get it. In the grander scheme, do we want fucking Hillary Clinton running America and having her finger over the big red fucking button? Fuck no. Fuck no. But the rest of the world, like I said, here in the UK, we're dealing with the BREXIT shit. Yeah. I'm sorry, like you have your election over there, great. We have BREXIT coming up December 31st. And nothing is in place. Nothing. People are going to lose their bank accounts. Their businesses are going to go under. Like, it is a fiasco.
Hey, Danny?
And got distraction, COVID-19.
Danny?
Yeah, love.
Something Dawn said in her last little soliloquy. You gotta look at a bigger picture. You gotta stand back and look at it. This thing is actually being run at a planetary level.
Absolutely.
And Brexit is one aspect. Yep. The U.S. is another aspect.
Yep.
Australia is another aspect. All three kind of different one from the other, but it's all actually from a higher perspective.
Absolutely.
All coordinated. So there is a bigger game plan involved.
Absolutely.
And I think
they're trying to coordinate this shit.
Caught in the details of this one, that one, or the other one, which we are easy to do, and they're all true.
Yep.
I think in this room we ought to kind of expand our perception just a little bit and say, let's try and figure out what that real game plan is. You follow what I'm trying to say?
Maury, that's what I've been talking about for months. That's what I've been ranting about since last September. Ranting. Because we do have to try and figure out what is that's the ultimate question. What is the actual goal? Because I don't buy the whole Agenda 21 thing as being the ultimate goal. No.
It's not. It's part of it, but it isn't all of it.
It's just a puzzle piece. Exactly. It's just one piece that's on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that could also be one piece by one faction. that's on the table.
That's correct. I agree there. And 2030 to go along with it.
And exactly, in 2030, it's the same fucking thing, right? So this is the thing. It's whatever it is that we think, whatever it is, and this is why I keep warning about people about narratives. People keep getting caught up in the narratives. And Brexit is a narrative. So is the American election. It's a narrative. The shit going on in Australia is another narrative. But then you have all the sub-narratives. So you have all the narratives of, like, you know, cosmic rays and fucking global warming and the chemtrail narrative and the vaccine narrative, and each of these is a narrative that ties us into a tiny little box that tries to get people to think only about that one thing, which is why we see narrative wars going on at the moment, where everyone's like, oh, it's this, it's Agenda 21. No, it might be part of it, but that's definitely, it's the American election, or it's Brexit, or these are pieces. These are just pieces.
You see this reset warning. Kristalina Georgieva from the IMF is warning we are at a breaking point. They're setting everything.
They've said it. Exactly.
Like dominoes, man. Yeah.
And what if, with the whole narrative thing, what if it's factions fighting over control of the bigger plan, which makes it's more chaos as well, because the factions are trying to they're fighting against each other for control of humanity.
Monty, that's correct. But that's still a lower level.
Yeah,
it's higher than you know, the specifics of Australia itself or US itself itself. And yes, that's also going on. That is a higher level, but that isn't the level at which it's being controlled. That's still the minions or the operatives in the scrum, literally. And I know it's hard as hell because these are all big concepts in and of themselves. And in former days, we would spend our whole lives just trying to figure out one thing. Hell, how long did we try to figure out the Kennedy assassination? We're still trying to figure out 9/11, you know? And these are just all little, like Danny's talking about, these are big pieces, but they're just pieces of a larger puzzle. And so I think Monty was another one. We said it just a few minutes ago. I'll shut up in a quick second.
Use those.
Go ahead, Maury.
What's coming in October, Monty? Don't rule out aliens. I ain't shitting you.
No, it's 2020. I wouldn't.
No, hey, listen. It's a very, very big piece that I keep on the table, and I don't mean like Project Bluebeam fake aliens. I'm talking like the real fucking deal, and that's a major piece I keep on the table always, because I know a lot of people want to poo-poo it and be like, oh no, it'll be a fake one. We have enough fucking background evidence. We have enough fucking background evidence since the 50s and the 40s that this shit is going on.
But I don't think they've been
able
Earl,
to get... Hold on, Earl, just a second. Let Maury finish.
And then I'll go for it, whatever. Just one little point. Danny, I've been wanting to tell you this for a while, but I've been interrupted lately with shit in my life. I remember when you were, right after the beginning of the year, you know, you were having your astrological things about all of the astrological stuff, and you were saying, holy shit, the world is really fucked. This is before March and the COVID thing. And you were saying it can't get, how can it get any worse? I said, Danny, you think this is bad? I said this to you.
I know.
I said, you think this is kind of bad? Wait till August.
Exactly.
Well, holy shit. And now we're in September, and listen to this whole program, which I missed an hour of it. I'm sorry, but Woody was here. And, but I just want to remind you, I told you, I didn't know the specifics either, but I fucking knew something was coming. And we're not done with this shit, Monty.
No, we're not done with it. Nope.
Wait till the next couple of months. And what it is, I don't know either. But okay, I just wanted to, you know, I like to tie things in from the beginning to the end.
And Maury, we'll revisit this. We'll revisit this conversation in January of 2021, because we're all going to go, So
no
I mean,
kidding.
This is it.
No kidding. Yeah,
that's what the
wildest imaginations may not be enough.
We couldn't possibly, but isn't it interesting? I find it very, very interesting, because I bring this up a lot. If we think about where we were mentally, emotionally, physically, even on the greater scale of consciousness, etc., in 2010, 2011, 2012. Could we possibly have seen? Could we possibly have comprehended where we are right today? Fuck no. Fuck no. Would we have been mentally, emotionally, and like fucking consciously prepared in 2012 for the shit right now? Fuck no. I think the vast majority of us I can very openly say I would have probably checked myself into a psych hospital because, say what now? So this is it. It's craziness.
Danny?
Yeah, hon.
And the other side of the shit is we are shifting timelines like crazy, in my opinion.
I think so.
I went to bed the other night. I went to bed at 10. I never go to bed at 10. Okay? I was fucking tired. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and let me just go ahead and say I didn't wake up. All of a sudden, I'm in my bed with my eyes wide open, fucking wide awake, never woke up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I knew innately I had not woke up, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And I sat up in bed, and I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't go back to sleep. And I mean, that never happens to me. And I was telling Randy that yesterday, and he's like, oh yeah. I mean, literally, I'm asleep and then I'm not.
Yep. No, I know what you're talking about. Or vice versa, you're not asleep and then suddenly you are.
It's so, and I innately knew, I was like, what the fuck just happened here?
Yep.
I mean, like, yeah, so stuff is happening.
Yep.
On that level in a big way. So we can't count that out.
Yeah, in the physical, and we'll just touch on this briefly because I did want to touch on this and I got sidetracked and forgot. And I want to talk about the physical because I'm hearing from everyone. I can talk from my own personal experience. The amount of physical pain that I have been in over the last couple of months, but literally like increasing continuously, from joint pain to headaches to mysterious pains that just appear out of fucking nowhere. Physical symptoms, if you will. Weird physical symptoms from hair loss. I'm getting a lot of reports of people saying, what the fuck, all my hair's falling out now all of a sudden. Like, seriously. To radical changes in their skin. To changes in eyesight, hearing. My eyesight, I mean, we all know I've been bitching about my eyesight for quite a while, and I really do need to get to a doctor and an ophthalmologist and get a pair of glasses or contacts or something. I'm to the point now where my eyesight is so fucking bad just in the last 6 months. It's shocking. And I'm not the only one. I'm hearing this from tons of people. Tons of people who are like going, I'm afraid I'm going blind. People who've gone and got brand new glasses 3 months ago who said to me, I literally got 2 messages this summer from friends who had literally just got brand new prescriptions. So they've gone through the whole testing, everything, and 3 months later they're like, I'm fucking blind. These glasses don't work, or these contact lenses aren't even working anymore. And my eyes have deteriorated that much. So that's another piece to put on the table, and I keep looking at that one as well. And it's the same thing, like even in body temperature changes, the feeling that you're getting the flu, and you never actually get the flu, but that is you kind of the physical symptoms that you associate with, I think I'm getting sick, I'm getting a cold, I'm getting a flu, and it never manifests, it never turns into anything, but those physical, the fatigue, oh yes, the fatigue, physical fatigue, mental fatigue, emotional fatigue.
Snap naps.
Snap naps. Oh, fuck yeah. This shit is all going on, and we're getting, and Anna and I have talked about this quite often over the last few months, especially, that we're seeing new symptoms being added to the COVID diagnosis that are obviously, in my opinion, obviously are not symptoms of COVID. They're symptoms that everyone's fucking going through right now, like exhaustion, things like the headaches and the joint pain, etc., 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 hair loss, all of these things. These are not symptoms. They're trying to assign it, and fundamentally, maybe they're just because they don't know any better, as i.e. doctors, etc. They don't know. They just have
Could
a
be
shit ton of
DNA
people.
changes.
Sorry?
Could be DNA changes.
Could be. It
Like,
could be radiation. I'm
for
sorry,
me,
but it could very well be radiation.
for me, Danny, my eyesight has gotten better. Like,
I wish.
since 2015. But since I've been shifting, it just gets better.
And you
Now,
know,
I
listen,
know
there's a few people who've said that too.
I had my lenses replaced in like 2010, 2011 because I had the good cataract that they could do surgery on. So, had my lenses replaced. Now, my vision for me, I don't think shouldn't have changed as much in like 10 years. I think it just stopped at some point, but
No, that doesn't stop. No, that doesn't stop at some point. Trust me, it's called old age, darling.
No, improving. Like,
yeah,
my vision
that's what I'm
improving.
saying, right? No idea, darling. I have no idea. I want to talk because everyone's talking about here. Talk about radiation. Radiation is a serious one we need to be looking at because we're looking at changes in plants, which is the whole reason why I started that gardening group. Okay, we're seeing changes in plants. We're seeing changes in all of these plant life, trees. We're seeing changes in animals. We're seeing changes, all these different things coming. It's not just physically on us. It's not just physically on us. We're seeing changes across the board, which is why I'm really looking strongly at the radiation aspect. The thing is, I don't think it's a radiation that we know. I don't think it's a radiation, and I'm using radiation as an all-encompassing word because we possibly don't even have a word to describe this. I think it is something of that nature that could very well be coming in. And with our geomagnetic shields being so weak, and we know, like I said, every week Nick keeps a really, really big eye out on all the astrophysics, all the studies coming out, the new announcements about stars and supernovas, et cetera, et cetera. And it has been crazy amounts of news coming in over the last year, especially on those aspects of new phenomena they're discovering, and supernovas, and they're discovering that solar flares that are happening on other suns, on other galaxies, directly affect our sun. Oh wait, snap. This is the kind of stuff. And maybe, hopefully, these idiots at NASA et al. Do know what they're studying, but we're not getting the information. And I've been saying this over and over again for the last 2 years. I don't even think we have the equipment to be able to measure what kind of rays or what kind of energies are coming in right now. So what's going on? And how does that affect us? Well, obviously, there are physical effects on the planet, just like I said, just let's take a look at the climate changes that have been sweeping across the planet, on the plant life, biology, the flora, the fauna. It's obviously happening. But do we know what it is? No, we don't. All we can do is just keep looking. As Maury said, keep putting those pieces on the table. Put the pieces on the table and keep looking at them because there's a bigger picture at hand here. There's a much bigger picture.
And let me just say, so all we have to do is kind of look at it. So masks, stay away from each other, radiation increasing. So what would they be trying to accomplish? Well, we know germ theory is bullshit. It would seem to me that in the old days, if something were to happen to one of us that affected our bodies, that when we got into groups, the rest of us would pick up on that and our bodies would make the necessary adjustments. So if we're not around each other, that can't happen. So I think there's a lot of supernatural processes that are kind of happening, and they're trying to stop it in every way they can.
Stop the evolution.
And even, like I said, even the vegetation shows it. So, yeah.
Well, that kind of, if you put that into that idea into what we're seeing, it does look like the powers that were are trying to suppress humanity because they, in a simple way, don't want us to become goddesses and gods again.
Yeah, we're very powerful beings. We've always been very powerful beings, and it's just, yeah,
and they've used mind control and like narratives and everything to sort of keep us in a small box. But now, because of just energy and radiation and all, like the frequency and however you want to call it, there's dare I say, the planet's gone, no, that's enough, and we're evolving. And the controllers are freaking out because they won't be able to control us because we'll tap into a bigger us.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
if you look at it from the bigger point and you look at what they're doing to us, then why would they, let's start thinking like they do. Why would they do that?
Well, one of the things that I keep commenting on, right? So you remember Ancestry and me and Ancestry.com and all those ones who were like, send us your DNA and we'll tell you all about your background. And I kept saying, no, don't be sending them. There's a very big move to collect DNA. To the point of, if you guys will remember, back in 2015 and 16, police doing swabs, stopping and just randomly swabbing people. That was in North America, and the state and Canada. Randomly, and they weren't doing like they were doing the cheek swabs and nasal swabs. They're collecting DNA. Well, now they have the COVID test. Well, isn't it just convenient? We've got a pandemic that requires them to come up and scrape the back of your fucking brain through your nose. What are they testing for? And one of the things I hypothesized back in 2013 is if they have a baseline reading of humanity, and perhaps even individually, and I think there's a very good chance a baseline reading of us as individuals, they want to do another test. They want to do another test because they want to see what changes have happened. They've all given us the PKU test. When you're born, they can't take your blood sample, and that is a DNA record that has been capped on you as a person. So is that it? Are they collecting DNA now because they've got someone, somewhere, something is measuring where it started to where we are now? It's a question. It's definitely a piece that has to be put on the table because it's highly plausible. It's highly plausible. Yeah, Jimmy, doing an audit. Exactly, Jimmy. They're doing an audit.
We're going to get hit by these asteroids, Danny, and we're going to go to another planet. That's
sure, if you say so. Well, I have to say, on my bingo card, I do have asteroids, but it has a proviso that the asteroid hits the planet and brings back the dinosaurs. So, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. We've still got a few days left in September. Oi. And if you guys, okay, totally off topic, because I got to go. It's now after 5. I have to make dinner, and my dogs need to be fed. If you want an interesting show, kind of a little bit of a mindfuck show to watch, Raised by Wolves. Someone posted it. One of the Unfuckers posted it, and I think it's an HBO special. It's interesting. It's a bit of a mindfuck, and it's one of those shows that you can't really, you spend the whole time trying to figure out what's happening, because what? So if you like those kind of movies, I highly recommend that show, Raised by Wolves. I'll put the what do they call it? The trailer with the article that'll go with this, so you guys can have a watch. Anyways, I'm gonna have to let you guys go. I gotta run. Yes, darling.
I sent you a link via Facebook about the church saying no to the vaccine.
Good.
So that should give you one article, and then there'll be, because it was an Anglican church said they won't use it, but then there was a link in the article saying the Catholic Church. So yeah, there's your rabbit hole for the week.
Oh, thank you. I'll go check that out. I love treats. And I'll put the link in with the article so that everyone will be able to go traipse down that rabbit hole as well. Okay, I love you guys. I will see you next week. Oh, wait. One announcement. UnFuckers Unite is ready to go. I need a couple of people to go and register. Not a massive amount, just a few. Like I said, the social media aspect is still being built, but access to the library, access to all the articles and the old pre-show chats, etc., is all there. If a few people want to go and do a test and go and register, let me know how it goes, because, oh my God, you cannot believe the amount of pain and suffering it has caused to rebuild the site. Let me know. So, unfuckersunite.com. I'll leave that with you there. And as soon as we have it fully launchable, I will make a video specifically about it so I can take everyone on a tour. Okay, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
One small step for man.